Welcome to Islam Under Scrutiny, a series of short interviews with Dr. Daniel Shayesteh.
Hi, my name is Bob Johnston. Thanks for joining us. Our topic today is tyrannized freedom in Islam. Devoted Muslims would certainly think that they have freedom to believe the teachings of Muhammad, but do they really experience freedom in Islam? It's good to have Dr. Daniel Shayesteh with me again this morning to answer some more questions about Islam. Daniel was at one stage of his life a radical fundamentalist Muslim, but now he's a committed Christian. He has lived and experienced both worldviews. In his youth, he could recite the whole Quran. Today, he loves reading the living word of God, the Bible, which has shown him the way to perfect freedom. Good morning, Daniel.
Good morning, Bob. Thank you so much for having me.
That's a pleasure. Daniel, from an outsider's viewpoint, and for many insiders also, an Islamic system speaks about freedom despite enforcing a full measure of prohibitions, fatwas, punishments, fears of being tortured and being killed. Does Islam really offer freedom of thought, freedom of expression, and freedom of conscience for the followers of Muhammad?
According to the classification of academic studies, Islamic leadership is categorized as sharply hierarchical and dictatorial. In a dictatorial leadership, freedom has a different meaning and different principles. Freedom is just to serve the motives of the ruling power. So the followers have freedom, especially sometimes abundant freedom, but only to demonize oppositions or those who do not think or speak the way the ruling power does. And so it's a tyrannizing freedom to tyrannize those who are critical of the leader or opposed leader. I just give you the example of blasphemy law in some Islamic countries. According to this law, you have abundant freedom to admire Muhammad in any way you want, but you will be in a serious problem if you even say that the leadership model of Jesus or Moses is a bit better than Muhammad's leadership. So you see that Islam offers freedom, but it's a tyrannizing freedom. It's a freedom just to please the leader, Muhammad, and anybody who rules in his place.
So what was the effect of such a tyrannized freedom in Muhammad's own personal life and in the life of his followers?
It really turned his life around 100%. Muhammad, while he was living in Mecca, and he was the husband of a Christian lady who was a church attender, and Muhammad attended the church with her, and he lived with her, who was 15 years older than him, for 25 years. And he was a simple man, a trustworthy man, and never expressed any desire for any other wife or polygamy. And he respected the religion of other people group and expected them to have compassion toward him and respect his choice. But this Muhammad moves from Mecca to Medina and becomes totally a different Muhammad, a warlord that never tolerates even a small criticism. Nobody had any right of saying about his decision. and he did not tolerate other religions. Pagans and atheists had only two choices, either to die or to join Islam. Christians or Jews, had to join Islam or, to die, but they had a concession. They could pay money yearly to purchase their life. And his family, life became really chaotic, and legalized the short marriages, 1 hour, 1 week, 1 month marriage, legalized the marriage with little girls, and even exchanging your wife. That's all written in the Quran. And even Allah defended Muhammad after he broke his oath with his wife. In chapter 65, if you read the first 5 verses, you see that he broke his oath with his wives, and then Allah just comes to defend him and threatens actually his wives with divorce, and tells them that Allah would give Muhammad other wives if you do not give up. And so his just carnal desires really became everything in everywhere. And so his dictatorial behavior just created tension amongst his own family, even while he was living. But after his death, and that tension became really chaotic and created Sunnis and Shias, and they called each other infidels and slaughtered one another. In the past 1400 years, they have slaughtered millions from each other, just calling themselves infidels, and the law for infidelity in Quran is very clear. You have to kill them. So this was the effect, his dictatorial, tyrannical, behaviors effect on his family, and then through his family on other people and surrounding nations.
Thanks. It's a tragic story.
It is.
Do Muslims secretly or even openly crave freedom, or are they resigned to submission being their chosen way of life, a life of prohibitions?
They do crave, Bob, and I remember my own past. We are created, as Bible said, in the image of God, and that is in us, that desire. But crying for freedom is very costly in Islamic countries, and for that reason, many Muslims just want to keep, silent. We know that in past centuries, it was not easy for Muslims to run away from their tyrannical leaders. They were slaughtered, they were killed in their own land and in their own houses in front of their family members. But now you and I understand that very easily, that millions of Muslims are running from their countries, from the cruelty of their leaders, to the Western countries, taking refuge in Western countries just to exercise their free will and to pursue their life goal in freedom. So they crave for freedom, and eventually some of them are able to understand that cruelty, that tyranny is coming from the spirit of Islam. It's not only Muslim leaders.
So what would you want to say about freedom to well-intentioned followers of Muhammad?
I love to use the wisdom of the Bible really to awaken their consciences. I would ask them whether they believe the call of Islam is thoughtful and purposeful. Their responses absolutely to this question would be yes. And then I would say to them that any thoughtful and purposeful prophetic call involves thoughtful discerning, confidence, and determination, which altogether means the exercise of free will. Free will is the sign of our capacity to notice a call, to evaluate the call, and to see whether that call is from the true God or not. It is after this we can decide to accept that call or not. So as a result, the call of Islam is meaningless when it blocks the free will. It blocks my intentional and serious involvement. To clarify myself, I absolutely need to give them, examples from their own life and how they listen to opinions and thoughts in their daily life and evaluate them in order to establish good characters in themselves for a successful life. So it is the same with God. Our personality's dynamic and autonomous reaction to thoughts, including the thoughts of God and Prophet, is very vital in our life. They need to understand that. I help them to understand this, and therefore to understand really that Islam is against my capacity, my personality, against the personality of human being, the freedom, the free choice God has given them, and therefore blocks the improvement and success in human life. There are many questions of conscience I can raise with them. For example, we can ask them whether they believe Islam is moral. Their response is absolutely yes to this question. And then I would say to them, look, there is always a strong connection between moral goodness and reasoning, our choices, our free will, and our intentional and serious involvement. So to really protect our freedom, we need to reject Islam, and because Islam, blocks the freedom of choice. So really raising their consciences is so important for them to understand the significance of freedom and understand that Islam really blocks the way to improvement and success in life.
Thanks, Daniel. There's certainly plenty to think about in the answers that you've shared with us today. So thanks very much for sharing so openly and clearly. If you want to ask questions about Daniel's responses, please place them in the comments section below the video. We will select questions from here for our Q&A program on this same YouTube channel in the near future. If you found this interview helpful, please take the time to press the like button below and subscribe to this channel. Please tune in to the future interviews. Thanks for joining us.
If you would like to consider more from Dr. Daniel's insights, please visit the playlist page of Daniel Shayesteh YouTube channel and visit the Exodus from Darkness website at exodusfromdarkness.org.